Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, I've owned my Porsche Boxster 718 GTS for a little over a year. I can't believe how time has flown. But this week, she celebrated a significant anniversary, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to give you a bit of an update as to how things are going and what my plans are for the future with the car that's sat behind me. So it's certainly days like today that make owning a convertible car an absolute pleasure. It's days like this that I live for, although to be fair, I do have a mantra: if it ain't raining, the roof is down. But I have to say the vast majority of the miles I've done in this car have been with the roof down. And in the last year of ownership, I've had some amazing trips. Within a couple of weeks of picking the car up, she went on a drive tour down through the Pyrenees, across to Monaco and back again, an absolutely epic trip with GT Tours. And then most recently, I was over with Podium Tours up to Spa and across to the Noorschleife. She's also had a quick trip across the channel to go up to the Netherlands when I flew the Palvi flying car. So she certainly had some road trip experiences. We're about 150 miles shy of 16,000 miles. They're not all mine. I bought the car as a 2-year-old with about sort of 6,000 miles on the clock. So I've tried to be reasonably careful in terms of mileage. I didn't want to be that guy that wouldn't drive their car because they were worried about how many miles they'd put on it. But it's very easy to fall into that trap, and I do tend to just use the Porsche for special trips and special journeys. I don't like doing unnecessary journeys in it just because of the mileage. And that's got mainly to do with the fact that this car's on finance, and at the end of the finance agreement, I got an annual mileage allowance with that, but I just want to try and keep the value in the car as much as possible so that it gives me options at the end of my finance agreement, whether I move on to another car, maybe another Porsche, or whether I buy out the finance agreement or just give the keys back. So I am being reasonably careful with the mileage. But if I've had the car a year and I bought it when it was 3 years old, well, if you're good at maths, you'll know that, well, in the UK, as soon as a car hits its 3rd birthday, it needs what's called an MOT. Now, for the non-UK residents, that is an annual safety check that cars need to go through, and this week was Lady P's MOT. So how did I get on? Well, one of the things I needed to do was to prepare the car for an MOT, and I think we probably need to go to the back of the car and talk about something, and I need to ask your opinion. I want to know what you think I should do next. Now, when I collected the car from Harbour Cars 12 months or so ago, perhaps one of the most controversial things I did with the car, something that I really liked and a few of you liked, but let's face it, most of you didn't, was the shape of the rear number plate. I had a custom plate made that was specifically designed to sit in this recess on the back of a 718 Boxster or Cayman. And I thought it was really cool. It gave me somewhere to put the little UK sticker rather than putting one actually on the bumper, and I really liked it, but many of you absolutely hated it. But when I was preparing the car for its MOT, I changed the number plates, and I put on Instagram, you know, those observant of you, what have I done? And many of you noticed that the rear plate shape had changed, but one of the things I'd done, and if you're really looking closely, the other bit I get a lot of grief for is I have slightly well, they're show plates basically. I've got a space in the wrong place. And I've never had any problems, touch wood. I've ran my plate on my Mini, which is very similar. I've had that plate on a car for 12 years and never had any problems. In fact, the Mini's passed its MOT the last 2 years running, and I forgot to change the plates over and it still got through because it's really not that bad, I don't think. But anyway, I'm sure some of you will have a comment to say. But I've put the proper shape plate back on with the proper spacing, and my question is, should I keep it like that? What do you think? I was with Joe, Achilles and Pat when we were recording the podcast this week, and I rocked up in Lady P and he was like, oh, thank God you changed that plate, I bloody hate that thing. So it's quite clear what his opinion is, but I'd love to know what you think. I actually, when I put them on, I only put them on to put it through its MOT, and I plan to put the others back on straight away. I actually quite like it like this, but I think I may well put the other plates on. One thing I will do, I've only tacked these on, they're not screwed on properly, and this one's not quite straight. I tried really hard. The front one's okay, but this one's down on the left-hand side a little bit. So my OCD's kicking in, I will need to change that. But let me know, should I keep this plate on, or should I put the old one back on? But anyway, you'll be pleased to know Lady P passed her MOT with flying colours. I kind of didn't expect anything other than that. It's a 3-year-old car. I've just had new tyres put on it. I couldn't imagine anything on the car that would fail an MOT. Certainly not for a car that's this new with such low miles. But while we were in Porsche Centre Portsmouth, who did the MOT, there were a few other things that I needed doing, and I just wanted to have a chat with you. In my video on Podium Tours, I mentioned the fact I just had some new tyres, some Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about those, and also a bit of a problem I've had since those have been put on the car. So yes, a new set of boots were fitted. I got rid of the Pirelli P0s, put on Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss. Now I did do, or mention this in a video, and a few people had asked whether I got my wheels aligned. And interestingly, the day I got the tyres fitted, normally I would always have wheel alignment done when you get a full set of tyres fitted, or any tyre actually, just as a double check. But I couldn't actually do that because where I got the tyres fitted, their laser alignment bay was on a lift, and the lift had quite a steep ramp, and we couldn't actually get this car onto the ramp. And it was only like the day before I went on Podium Tours, and I didn't have enough time to do it. So the car isn't pulling or doesn't feel like it's got an alignment problem. So it wasn't a massive urgent issue. I knew I would get that sorted when I came back from the tour. So I've actually had the alignment done. I went up to Michel Diva Tyres as I went up to film the podcast, and all is in order, so that's fine. And it's a full wheel alignment, and that everything's in order, everything's as it should be. But I had a problem with the tyre pressure monitoring system. Now, if you've been watching the channel for maybe 2 or 3 years, you may well remember the problems I had when I modified my Mini. I actually changed the wheels and forgot to change over the little valves that do the TPMS system on the Mini, and I failed my MOT. I had a nightmare, basically. It wasn't like that because the tyres were just swapped over on the wheels, and when I picked the car up, the TPMS system was working fine, showing the pressures of all 4 tyres, but the pressures weren't quite right. They weren't what I wanted. So on the way to pick up Dino to go to tour, I actually pulled into a garage that's got a digital tyre pressure or tyre machine, and I reset the tyre pressures, and then the TPMS system just basically went on the fritz. It just stopped working and just said I had a tyre issue, or it put a warning light on the dashboard, which was really annoying because I knew there was nothing wrong with the tyres, and unfortunately it wouldn't reset itself. It wouldn't recalibrate the TPMS system. So I actually had a tyre warning for the whole of Podium Tours, which is quite disconcerting. I knew there was nothing wrong with the tyres, but if you get a deflation, you just don't know. So it wasn't an ideal situation at all. So when the car went in for its MOT, I asked them to look at the TPMS system, and Porsche just did a factory reset, and it's working absolutely fine now. And they've also done a couple of bits of recall work that was needed on the car. So everything is tip-top and tickety-boo. In terms of the tyres, they've transformed the car for me, and I know I've got a close association with Michelin, with the podcast and so on. But honestly, there's a saying when I do my sales training, drinking your own champagne, and I'm a big believer that these particular tyres, the Pilot Sport 4S tyres for fast road and a bit of track, they're the best tyres you can get, in my humble opinion. And these are N-rated for the Porsche as well. So when you do go back to an original Porsche Centre, they're not going to get a sad-on because you've got non-Porsche rated tyres. And interesting, when I was with Joe, he just picked up a base 911 Carrera, and that was running Michelin tyres, and they've just been N-rated for the 911, 992 generation, which I think is really, really interesting. Anyway, so that's that. Now, if I've done an MOT, that means that the car's 3 years old. That means I've got no more Porsche warranty. So what does that mean for the future of the car? Am I going to extend my warranty, or am I going to start thinking about modifying the car? Let's jump in and have a chat. Still, one of my favourite things about the car is the interior. It's just such a special place to be. But let me just talk a bit about warranties. So I guess it depends on the manufacturer of vehicle you have. Some manufacturers will be 3-year warranties, some will be 5. Some nowadays will even give you 7 years, 100,000 mile warranty. The big question is, when you get out of that warranty period, what do you do? Do you extend the warranty? Now, I actually had an email about that from Porsche, and I've decided I'm not going to extend the warranty. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And I think it'd be interesting to get everyone's opinion. So, you know, stick it in the comments below what you think. Maybe I might even do a podcast with it with Joe. I did a degree in manufacturing engineering, and I remember one of my lecturers, we were talking about reliability and component wear and tear and warranties and all that kind of stuff. And I remember he said, I'm going to save you thousands of pounds by what I'm about to tell you. And he basically talked about why manufacturers, and this isn't just cars, it's any kind of white goods. Most white goods or electronics, you have to have a year's warranty, and then you can extend it after that. And the reason why a lot of manufacturers will give, you know, that first period of 3 years is in components, whether that's electronic components or mechanical ones. There's a thing called infant mortality. If a component's going to fail, the statistical likelihood of that failure in the first year is very, very high, which is why everything has a 1-year warranty, because if it fails, you just get a new one. If that component doesn't fail in the first year, the statistical likelihood is it's not going to fail for quite a long time, maybe 5 to 10 years. And what you'll find is most extended warranties cover a period of maybe 2 or 3 years after that first year, but generally don't go into the period of time that happens after that period, where you then start to get component failure. And that's why it's called the bathtub curve of reliability. Likelihood of failure in the first year is very high, then it drops, then it goes down a plateau for 2, 3, 4 years, and then it goes back up again. And you'll find that extended warranties are normally only offered in that middle bit at the bottom of the bathtub, where statistically it's unlikely that you're going to get a problem. Now, whether or not that directly relates to cars, and I don't want anyone to not take out a warranty and then blame me for doing it, but with warranties, I've never taken out an extended warranty on anything, and I just hope that my lecturer, all that 30 odd years ago, was telling the truth. So I'm not taking out an extended warranty on this car. I appreciate some people with high-end value cars, especially supercars, where the likelihood of getting a really nasty, horrible bill is significant, but an extended warranty can sometimes cost you thousands of pounds a year. And if you don't claim on that warranty, that's just thousands of pounds, a bit like insurance, I suppose. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'm not doing an extended warranty. So the car's now out of warranty. Good news is that means that Porsche can't have a sad on about my Miltech exhaust or my Zunsport grills, which some of you have commented they might do. It also means that I'm potentially free to modify the car because I don't have a warranty to worry about. And certainly what happened with the Mini is as soon as that was out of warranty, at that point, that's when I started to think about modifying the car and putting a stage 2 on the engine and so on and so forth, because I knew I didn't have any warranty to worry about. So am I going to modify the Porsche? Well, the simple answer to that is no, I'm not, because it's perfect. It's the best of the best. It's the top level that Porsche could do in the Boxster. If you put things like the Spider to one side, it's as good as Porsche could do. Could I put a mild tune on the engine to give me more horsepower? Of course I could. It's a turbocharged engine. It's currently running 360 PS. I'm sure I could get that significantly increased. But honestly, it doesn't need it. It's a car that's so well balanced. The power and the weight and the distribution of the weight and the braking and the turning and everything about the car is so perfectly balanced. I think putting a bigger tune on it would just ruin that balance. This car's not about pure outright straight line speed. It's about the whole package, and Porsche have designed this car to be that complete package. So I've got no plans to do any modifications to this car at all, which is, as a YouTuber, not great, because obviously any modifications are things that you can do on the channel, right? I did have a look at putting a wrap on the car. I love the colour spec and I love the way the car looks, but I'm just mildly obsessed with oak metallic green, which is a Porsche paint to sample colour. And I know someone who's got a 718 Spider in oak metallic green, and it is a thing of great beauty. And I have actually talked to a couple of wrapping companies about putting a wrap on the car. And the main thing that's stopping me doing that is just the pure expense of doing it. We're talking, 4,000 or 5,000 quid to do it really properly with a company that really knows what they're doing. And that's just too much money. I can't see the benefit in doing that. So planning is to just enjoy the car, really. It's not to do anything ridiculous. It's got an exhaust that makes it sound a bit better. It's got some grills on the front that protect the front radiators. Yeah, that's about it, really. Very boring, I know. And then who knows, in a year's time or 2 years time, I might think about moving up the Porsche ladder, getting something else. I was looking at a Spider the other day when I had the car in for MOT. Very, very tempting. A GT4 would be tempting, although it doesn't have a roof. So a Spider really, or you know, that would be the option for me. Anyway, that's it. That's my update. I'm gonna let you go there because I've been waffling a lot and I'm not even taking the car out for a drive on this video. But if you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.